In the previous video, I talked about the business model canvas, which is great for businesses that are already established when you need to describe them in one page. This time we'll talk about Lean Canvas, and Lean Canvas is a tool that is more appropriate for a startup at the early stage. So let's talk about the components of Lean Canvas and things that it will address. First of all, who are the early adopters? In the business model canvas, we talk about who the customers are. But here, remember that we care about who will be the early adopters, the first customers that we should go after, and that's important to identify. They know that they have a problem. They're early in the product cycle, and remember when we talked about that, they are the ones that do. That are willing to try new things. They're the ones that can see early value. Books that I would recommend are Crossing the Chasm and Inside the Tornado. It's kind of two books by Jeffrey Moore that would really help in this context. What is the problem? You need to identify the problem, and that's not something that typically you talk about in the business model canvas. You talk about it here. Who are the direct competitors? Who are the indirect competitors? What are the alternative products? What's the best current alternative to the product or service that you're offering? What is the high level concept of your product? With the business model canvas, it's a little more obvious what is it that you're selling. Here, you need to explain it a little more. A one sentence description. Remember the 6-word story or some kind of a short description of what it is. An analogy makes it very easy to understand. Now, you're launching your business. Maybe you're still in the MVP process or stage. What are the key metrics? What are the type of things that you're going to measure to know if your business is successful? Is it the number of customer phone calls? Is it the number of return calls that you get back? Number of demonstrations that you get to do? Pre-revenue metrics, maybe even early revenue metrics. What is your unfair advantage? It's very important when you get into the market. Remember, I talked about the differentiation or the difference between your competitive differentiation, which is what makes your product better than the other product, the best current alternative, but there is also the competitive advantage, which is how do you maintain that competitive differentiation. What would be unfair in the market? Is it patents that you have and nobody can copy? Is it trade secrets that nobody can get a hold of because it's kind of like rocket science? Is it the amount of work that was already put in here? There are different things that constitute the unfair advantage. Now, we talked about business model as how do you create value, how do you deliver the value, how do you capture the value, how do you measure the value, and even how do you defend the value. Those are all components of the Lean Canvas. So this is essentially how the different parts of the Lean Canvas fit into those 5 areas of value. So the definition of the problem, that's where you create the value. The solution, that's how you deliver the value, and also how you create it. The key metrics, that's how you measure the value. The unique value proposition, this is again how you create value. This once again is your competitive differentiation. Unfair advantage, that's how you defend the value and not allow your competitors to do it. That's your competitive advantage. Channels, once again, how do you deliver the value all the way to the customer? Do you go through retailers, distributors, anybody else? Customer segments, that's how you create value to the customers. And in the bottom, cost structure, that's how you capture the value, that's how you make revenue. Revenue streams, again, this is how you capture value. If we compare the Lean Canvas versus the business model canvas, they look the same. They have the same number of blocks, and the blocks are kind of organized the same way. But you will see that where the business model canvas has key partners, your Lean Canvas will have the problem itself. Where the key activities are in the business plan, the business model canvas, you will have what the solution is. Where they have the resources, you will have what are the metrics that you're measuring. Unique value proposition is still there. A high-level concept is something that you add. Customer relationships, instead of that, you'll talk about unfair advantage. And the rest of it is very similar. Once again, this canvas is made more for startup companies, early stage companies. So I gave you an article to read about the comparison between them. I'm going to touch on the top points that are actually coming from that article. The target for the business model canvas are new and existing businesses, whereas the lean canvas only startup businesses. The focus of the business model canvas is the customers, the investors, entrepreneurs, consultants, advisors, whereas the lean canvas is a tool mainly for you. So it's made for the entrepreneurs, not for others in general. Customers, business model canvas, we lay the emphasis on the customer segments, the channels, customer relationships in all the businesses. Here, not so much on the customer segments, as much as the early stage customers, the early adopters. The approach of the business model canvas is that it lays down the infrastructure, lists the nature, source of financing, revenue streams in the business, whereas lean canvas starts with the problem, proposed solution, channels to achieve it, to deliver it, cost involved, anticipated revenue streams. So again, more focused on the early stage of the idea and the business. The competition in a business model canvas, the competition focuses on the value proposition at quantitative, qualitative terms, whereas here in lean canvas, the focus is on whether the business has an unfair advantage and it would be able to prevent a competitor from doing the same thing that you are. And finally, how do you apply them? Business model canvas, mostly understanding, creativity, discussion, constructive analysis of your business model, whereas lean canvas is really just a simple problem solution oriented approach, and it enables you to develop step by step your proposition. This is what it looks like. Once again, there is a template for that in module 5, week 5, under materials for week 5. I'll see you in the next video.